Folks, you are watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media, all of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales in Southern California. That young man out there is
Eric Zandona in Vancouver, Washington.
Eric, and I are probably the first two reviewers ever for this particular brand, and we're kind of excited because it's a beautiful, substantial bottle. It's called Pacheco 1988. You know, I wonder if that's when Marco was born. Does that make you feel old? Because it does for me.
I did think about that. 88 wasn't too much before or after my time, but
Yeah, well, I think I was 10 years out of high school. I think at that point, I'm trying not to age myself here. As you can see, we nominated this baby, for Brand of Promise in packaging. It's gorgeous. It's substantial. And the Blanco was very tasty. I wish we knew more. Look at the bottom. I forgot is ridged. It's a nice. This is really something. I got to tell you, it's signed by Marco here at the bottom, and also here at the neck, and the cap, the top is it's actually metal and synthetic cork. So I'll bring this up when we go taste it a little bit more. But I'm going to use the Stasso Jarrito that I use generally for mezcal because it's got a wider mouth. And you're going to use the same one. Okay, cool. We don't even know how long this is aged. Do we know? Does it say on the label? No. Okay. We were Eric and I got the same expressions. My understanding is that there is a Repo and a Cristalino, I think. So there are a full 5 expressions, I believe. And I love the color. I mean, it's a nice for an añejo. It's actually, it looks lighter than it should be, but once you pour it in the glass, it's actually quite nice.
Yeah. No, this is a nice añejo color. Doesn't seem too dark.
It's got some pretty legs and tears on it.
Yeah. I mean, from what I read was that it sounds like they're maybe using, well, I don't know if for this brand or just for the producer in general, uses like a mix of American oak, ex-bourbon barrels, that sort of thing.
Ah, okay. Well, as usual, we're gonna dissect it, and then we'll give you all the ins and outs if you haven't watched the Blanco video.
So this is interesting, whereas the Blanco had a very pronounced sweetness in the aroma. This, I'm getting more pepper, but also not insubstantial amount of like wood character.
Yes.
But not the like sweet notes that you usually see in tequilas from wood, but like actual woodiness.
Yeah, it's almost like the bourbon forward. I was going to say because it's got that bourbon smell, aroma characteristic that I have had before. You've had that before, but it's not. Yeah, it's very much right on the top, and it's almost all wood. It's not a subtle wood. It's right there.
Yeah.
And again, this is an añejo, so we're skipping an expression because we didn't get it. So
right. I'm also getting something kind of reminds me of like menthol. You getting anything like that?
Like a mintiness?
Yeah.
I normally get mintiness on the intake. I don't normally, if I smell it on the wood, it's not a bad thing.
No, yeah. Anyway, there's something there that kind of, I mean, all these things, right? It's always like often a combination of things, right? There's maybe the agave has some peppery character combined with wood, and it expresses in a certain way that reminds you of X, right? It's not.
Right. because as we all know, aroma and smell are closely related to memory.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the best descriptor I ever heard from somebody. I was conducting a private tasting in my home years ago, and somebody said to me, we were doing añejos at the time, and he
Hmm.
said to me, "Wow, that reminds me of me running through my grandma's lilac bush." It's like, wow, what a memory that is. As a
Yeah.
kid, that was so. You'll get some things that will just evoke a memory, and some smells.
Yeah.
I'm not getting any of that mint, but that doesn't mean that it's not there. I'm just not. You and I
I,
use the same glass, so
yeah. I think as it's opening, it's interesting too, as you switch nostrils, you notice certain different things. And
yes,
I'm picking up more sweetness on one side than the other right now for whatever
it
reason.
happens. That's why it's left brain, right brain.
Yeah.
I always when I instruct, it's always the same way because some of the best master distillers will. It really does make a difference. Sometimes one side of your brain or your nostril or whatever will
Mhm.
pick up some aromas and scents, and the other side is more adapted getting something else.
Yeah.
So and then of course right in the center. Now
Yeah.
you notice there's no alcohol coming out of this like there was in the Blanco. The Blanco
No.
had an initial puff of alcohol coming out
Yeah.
of it, or ethanol, excuse me.
Yeah. So I think what I noticed is I'm getting a slight grassiness out of it that is reminds me of maybe it's the barrels that they're getting if they're ex bourbon that weren't used very long. That could be part of it. It could be a mixture of just the like green agave character mixing with the wood character. Um, so I think that's what I was getting that was initially smelling a little bit like menthol. There's kind of grassiness, but then there's a little bit of sweetness.
Well, I'm ready
So,
to dive in. This is
yeah,
really interesting.
yeah,
It's a very interesting
yeah.
nose.
So my first thought is I like it, but it's short. Um,
Yeah, there's no.
and
I'm
so
not getting
it,
any
it's like
retro nasal.
gone too quick. There was a moment where I was like, "Oh, this is really nice," and then it just disappeared.
Yeah,
So that's it. I don't know.
I'm not getting any retro nasal. Normally, with every tequila, when you hear me clearing my throat, I'm trying to get that
Yeah,
retro nasal thing going, and it's you know, sometimes if you have allergies or a cold or something, you just won't get any. But I didn't get any. I was expecting more of that wood that I was getting on the nose,
yeah,
like you said, it's short.
yeah,
It's it's great on the palate, and the finish is long. But unless you're holding it in your mouth, and I did
yeah.
for quite a while before I swallowed, and
Yeah.
I got nothing. So let me try this again, because maybe it's just me. Wow, very faint.
Yeah, so what I'm getting is that it's just like when it's sitting on my tongue, there was some nice like more green agave character, some mixed with some of the oak character, a little bit of sweetness, which is interesting because the Blanco seemed to be a lot sweeter.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
And then after I swallow it, it kind of just dissipates and there's not much left there.
yeah. Um, it's a strange reaction
Yeah,
because it's not what I'm used to, and not in you either. I'm sure because
yeah,
the nose tells me, oh, this is going to be hearty. This is going to be a
right,
substantial,
right.
great, they were because I thought for sure they're going for this because it smelled like bourbon. I mean, I thought, oh,
Yeah, yeah,
it's going to go there. and I'm expecting that, and then nothing.
Yeah.
And I held mine for a while on my palate, and there was very faint retronasal, very faint. I mean, I really had to go. "Nah." You probably heard that.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're listening to us on the podcast, you heard me clearing my throat. That's what I'm trying to do. Um, so for an añejo, I, I don't.
Yeah, and the other thing what we don't know is what the price point is for
Yeah,
this.
we don't know. We have no idea. If you're in Central California, you're watching this, please on the comments, let us know what it costs because we
Yeah.
have no idea. It's
But
so
my guess is like even the most affordable añejo I've seen was like that Rejon, right? It was
Oh
like
yeah,
49.99, which
yeah,
is unheard of, right?
I know.
Which was fantastic. Even if they were charging that, I'm like, it's not.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
I thought it was me, Eric. I really did. I thought, but I like the Blanco more than I like the Añejo. And again, you folks who are watching, those of you in Central California, if you have a bottle of this, let us know what you think. I think it's great. It's probably like you said, the market that they were going with when Eric mentioned the Blanco, he said, maybe they're going for the shooter market, the mixing market. This would be very mixable as an añejo, but the price point would be the determining factor
Yeah.
whether
Yeah.
you would mix this if the price point is too expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what like I said, it's so new. This is end of March when you're watching this, and my understanding is our programming is all booked up for April, so you may not see this till May,
Yeah.
which is cool. That's all right. It's got other than that, it's hitting all the points. It's beautiful. It's great. The color's nice legs and tears. The nose, I was just expecting more on the palate, and I didn't get it.
Yeah. And that's really, I think, for me, where it's kind of falling flat is the palate. And so, like, even if you're, say, like, you want somebody, sure, anybody can use this to mix an old-fashioned variation or something like that. But I think, if you're going for that market too, where you want people to drink it neat, I think that expectation there's going to be a little bit more body to it than it has, and I just I think that's where, so that's why I think even I think if like, yes, it's smooth and it's it's not harsh and all that good, but I think it's lacking a little body somehow.
Uh-huh.
And so
I agree. I agree. I don't think there are other brands out there with a lot of character in their añejos.
yeah.
And that, you know what? It's okay if you like it. I can't nominate it as a brand of promise in the añejo category because from the añejos I've already had just this year, and we're not even done with submissions yet. It'll get lost.
Yeah.
It'll get flattened, and I think you're right. I think what happens is it falls flat, and not in a big way. Okay, what I'm going to tell you is
Yeah.
the average person is going to love this. They're going to say, "Oh, those two guys are full of whatever hot air," but I got to tell you that the quality of what's coming out there that's new, a lot of startup brands,
Mhm.
they're hardy, and you and I have had a few already so far this year,
Yeah.
and I just expected more on my tongue, and I didn't get it. And the weird part is I wasn't able to get any retronasal, just very faint.
Yeah.
And I've never had that happen. Even when I have a cold, I can get something.
Yeah.
But not in this case. So,
Yeah.
but that's okay. Look, let me give you the ins and outs of the brand. First of all, of course it's 80 proof.
Mhm.
And it is coming out of what was the number of the distillery again? The
1439.
1439. The only brand that I know coming out of that, it's a very small maquiladora. I mean, there's only maybe 10 brands coming out of there, maybe a little bit, just a couple more. Is Bohica, and I've had the Blanco, And I really enjoyed Bohica. That's why I was interested when I saw that. I saw, oh, hey, there's a distillery that I have a little bit of history with. We haven't done the review on Bohica, but I have a bottle that Alex and I are going to partake in, hopefully when this COVID thing is over with, or close to it. But anyway, it's called Pacheco 1988. Brand of Promise nominee in the at least the packaging category. But that's our take. If you folks watching in Central California, they're out of Stockton to begin with. If you've seen it, if you've had it, give us, let us know in the comments below. If you're watching us on YouTube, please, tell us first of all, tell us what it costs, because we don't know. It's so new. It probably hasn't even gotten out of Stockton yet. But I tell you what, it's attractive enough to literally walk off the shelf. Okay, because you see this, and it's substantial, folks. So it's a very heavy bottle. But anyway, let us know. And of course, if you're listening to us on the podcast, if you've had it before, shoot us an email. But that's our take on Pacheco 1988. That's the Anejo. We're going to do the extra Anejo here shortly. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California. That gentleman out there is
Eric Zandona in Vancouver, Washington.
And you have been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media, all of our channels and networks. Please subscribe to us. Follow us on Instagram. Follow Eric at Easy Drinking on Instagram. And, whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.